Hello everyone and welcome into today's video where we are checking out the Tesla price charts again. I will be giving you a Tesla price overview, what's been happening in the past week, and we will look at some possibilities for the near future. And towards the end we will also check out a few Tesla news which are really interesting, so stay tuned for that one. And just before we start, I would really appreciate if you smash the like button to help me in the YouTube algorithm to reach more people. It really helps me out, so thank you for doing so. And let's get into the analysis itself. So taking a closer look on the 1-day chart over here, we can see that the price is now hovering around the $660 per share. And if we switch to the 1-hour charts, we can see it a little bit more clear. So from the last video I made, we were around those places. So the last week was pretty successful. We've managed to break out of this resistance, which is this smaller downtrend channel over here. So that was great news, and it was pretty strong the whole week, so we managed to go pretty much in a straight line and break this long-term resistance as well. And we also had a little bit of a peak above this downtrend resistance, which we've talked about in the previous video as well. However, it was unsuccessful to break this resistance, so it was just a false breakout and we came back down under both of these resistances. So we are now still in this downtrend area over here. And just to recap, this big dotted line is very significant because we have a few bounces off of this as a support over here and over here, and then it acted as a very strong resistance. We can see 1, 2 and 3, 4, and now actually fifth one over here. So very strong downtrend resistance now. It's very hard to break this one, so the stock price is still continuing in the downtrend. If we also take into account, apart from this resistance, also this one, which is another long-term resistance, but it's a bullish one, we can see that in the next few days and weeks it will be very hard to break both of these at the same time. So it's gonna be really difficult for the stock price to get into some kind of an uptrend in the near future, in my opinion. Another point is that down here we can see that there is a crossover about to happen on the MACD, which would also hint some more downtrend movements in the next few days. But overall I think there is still plenty of room to get more momentum and finally break this resistance. But as I mentioned, breaking both of these resistances at the same time would be very difficult, at least in this near future time frame. But also we may have a kind of a wedge forming over here, so this would mean that the Tesla price would get squeezed into this wedge and build more momentum until it finally pops above this resistance. So I think that this would be actually quite nice. But as always, we have to also check out the whole stock market as usual, because it's very important. So starting things off with the S&P 500, if we take a look at the 1-day chart, we can see quite a big candle above this very long-term resistance. So this is actually the first time there is a full candle in this whole over a 10-year long channel. So this is a very significant development on the S&P 500. If we switch to the 1-hour charts again, we can see that there was a really powerful move, a little bit of a back test, but then we burst above this one and still are hovering above. So it will be very interesting to see if the S&P 500 can manage to stay above this very significant long-term resistance, if we do a kind of a bounce off and continue to new all-time highs. However, if this is a false breakout and we came back down under the support, we can expect quite a big correction in the markets. But so far it looks we are in some kind of a channel over here, so we will have to wait and see how this will develop. Then if we check out the Nasdaq 100, we can see that from the last video we've actually managed to break this resistance over here. So we had a nice spike and now we are moving very high towards this resistance as well. So this is a very bullish development as well. But the final piece missing is breaking this resistance over here. So after we break this resistance, do a bit of a back test maybe and continue higher, I think we are in a pretty strong bull market again. And if we divide those two, we get this ratio, so Nasdaq divided by the S&P 500, we get this very interesting ratio. We are on the 1 week chart and we can see that this dotted line is the all-time highs of this ratio from the 2000, so the dot-com bubble top over here. And actually at the moment we are hovering just above this one, so that's very bullish as well. And if we stay above this, we can expect much more upside in the tech sector especially. However, if we break below this support, there will be a huge correction in the markets because it would be a false breakout and we would fall down maybe in a similar fashion as the dot-com bubble, so we have to watch out for this one. However, I found another indicator here on the Russell 2000 on the 1 day chart. We can see this yellow line, which is the long-term resistance. So if we zoom out, it goes all the way to 2004. Although we are now hovering above this resistance, it is starting to look a little bit worrying because we can start to see a bit of a head and shoulder pattern forming over here. So if there is gonna be this second shoulder formed over here, we can expect some large correction in the Russell 2000, which could put a lot of pressure on the whole stock market, and I think especially the growth sector. So now we will have to watch out this one, if it will continue to climb or if it will break down here and form this head and shoulder pattern, then we can expect some larger correction. And that's it for the price chart. Let's jump into the news. So first of all, we have this great news because Tesla shattered the market expectations with the record deliveries in Q1 2021. So they delivered over 180,000 vehicles, which is even more than in the Q4 2020, which was the best quarter ever for Tesla in terms of deliveries. So this is really huge. If we jump to the hypercharts, I will put the link in the video description. You can see all the vehicles delivered. So we have the green Model Ys, yellow Model 3s, Model X and Model S as well. And if we take at the previous first quarters, we have the Q1 2020, they delivered just 88,000 vehicles, and the previous Q1 they delivered just 63,000 vehicles. So always the Q1 was a bit worse or quite a lot worse than the Q4. However, this time around in 2021 they managed to even beat the Q4, which is usually their best quarter. So this is looking very strong for Tesla for this year, and I'm really looking forward to the Q1 earnings, which I believe will be this month, so stay tuned for that one as well. And then we have an interesting news because Tesla published a patent regarding the autonomous driving system, where they basically describe their version of autopilot and the full self-driving system. And as we know, Tesla uses mainly cameras for their data imaging, which has a lot lower bandwidth than, for example, some lidars or radars and all those very advanced sensors. So using just a camera for that gives them quite a big advantage in terms of bandwidth. They don't have to have such large computing units, can save a bit of energy as well. So they are very effective, and they actually filed this patent, and if I understood correctly, it's basically describing their whole full self-driving system. So this would mean that they are quite ready with the release, in my opinion, and are very bullish on it, because filing those patents cost a lot of money as well, and also if you want to keep them for a long time. And I think they really believe in this full self-driving, and if someone else, some other car brand wants to use this, they obviously can, but they will have to pay Tesla a very nice chunk of money, so that will help the Tesla balance sheet as well to make even more money. And finally, we have quite an amusing news, for me at least, because Tesla helped to find and fix a bug in the open source Bitcoin payment processor and wallet BTC Pay server. So after Tesla just barely got into Bitcoin a few months back, they already are improving the open source and fixing some problems which all people can benefit from, which is amazing. So that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with for today. So this is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, please smash the like button to help me in the YouTube algorithm to reach more people. I would really appreciate that. And also you can subscribe for more Tesla content to come on the channel. I thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video. Cheers!